Welcome to another episode, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States of America, put out a very racist post. And he doubled down at first on his post. He put out a post of the former President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle Obama, depicting them as apes. KKK Caroline Levitt came out and defended the post at first. So did Donald J. Trump, said that he was not going to apologize. This is your president. Viewer discretion is advised. This is very graphic. It's going to be very hurtful to a lot of people. It's very disrespectful. And it is absolutely outrageous. But let's get into it. This is the president that you all voted for and you wanted in the White House, and we know why you voted for him. He's been doing this sort of stuff. This is how he feels. This is how a lot of these individuals feel about us. You need to understand this. The sooner you understand this, the better off you will freaking be.
It is the first week of Black History Month in America, and we'll start with the sublime. It's worth reminding ourselves what civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision was for our country. When he stood before the masses in Washington, D.C., gave that iconic historic speech, said that he had a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. That all.
Yeah. And they say dreams come true, and a lot of them do not. And this one has never come to fruition. You can dream all you want, Dr. King. He never understood the nature of the beast, the nature of the individuals that he was dealing with. Some sick, barbaric people, trying to appeal to their conscience is a lost cause. They have none.
Men are created equal. He dreamed of a nation where his children were no longer judged by the color of their skin. And now for the ludicrous. In stark contrast, this is how Donald Trump decided to launch the first week of Black History Month in America in 2026. He did so by putting his racism on full display. He shared a blatantly, flagrantly racist post last night. It led to the rare occurrence of some members of Donald Trump's own political party drawing a line in the sand, which led to an unusual reversal from Donald Trump, but not before the White House first tried to excuse the display of racism. In one of Donald Trump's late-night Truth Social sprees, wherein he shared posts filled with conspiracy theories, the kind of spree that would make a figure in entertainment or sports face questions about their faculties, Donald Trump posted away until he got to a racist depiction of President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama, depicting them as apes. He spread that image to his 10 million followers. Now, normally around here, we wouldn't present this racist content, but we decided to do so, not just because the sitting president of the United States posted it. He posted this image of a former president, a very popular one, and First Lady. But it isn't going to be our job to edit or whitewash the most repugnant conduct and actions of Donald J. Trump. He shared this image to the world in our name as Americans, and you should see it, all of you, especially people who voted for him. What's new about this one? Well, a few things. I mean, Donald Trump's been launching racist attacks on President Obama and Michelle Obama for years now. Donald Trump championed and amplified the birther conspiracy theory that President Obama was not born in the United States, a lie. And the New York Times writes this of Donald Trump's latest display of racism towards President Obama and Michelle Obama, quote, "The depiction of Mr. and Mrs. Obama as apes perpetuates a racist trope used historically by slave traders and segregationists to dehumanize black people and justify lynchings. There is no denying that racist history of depicting black people as apes." And I know we talk a lot about what Donald Trump knows and doesn't know. There's no idiot defense here, because the White House actually defended this. They were good with this. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt went on the attack. She tried to justify Donald Trump's post with this, quote, "This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." Like your deeply unpopular agenda.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just it. These are some sick individuals. I'm gonna have to, this is an exercise in self-control. I'm going to be mindful of what I say here, even though I don't really want to. I'm going to be careful of what I say, even though I don't really want to. It's not really my style. But the audacity, the unmitigated gall of Caroline Leavitt, for Donald Trump, unmitigated gall of Trump, but we know that, he has this gall. He's exhibited this gall from day one of his presidency, from the first term on. So those who have triple Trump, you really need to be ashamed of yourself. We all knew from day one that he was a racist MAGA maggot. And the black individuals that defend him should really be ousted from the black community. They should never be welcomed back. But that will never happen. Black people will never do that. It's just not what they do. That's how they feel. It's not how I feel, but that's how my people feel. It's just too damn nice. It'll never happen. It's just wishful thinking, but they still support people that support Trump. Like Nicki Minaj, that's just how black people are, man. They'll do stuff like that. Not enough pride, not enough race pride to allow someone to do something like this, and you still find a way to justify it and support him. Caroline Leavitt, she comes out, makes this sort of comment that it's, let's talk about something that really matters, she says. She says that this was some depiction from something else. These people do this sort of stuff and then just play in your face, just tell you that you're dumb, that you're stupid, that what you're seeing is not what you're seeing. What's the big deal? This comes from a movie. This is not racism. He wasn't trying to be racist. I mean, they sit here in your face and play in your face. Let's talk about something that really matters. No, this matters to a whole race of people that has built this country. This matters. What do you mean talk about something that really matters? This is what they'll do. Time is going to come, though. Y'all going to stop this stuff. Y'all going to stop this nonsense. I promise you the time is going to come. I promise you. White liberal women are the problem. They are a big part of the problem. And women like her, believe me.
Don't worry, we'll get to that, Caroline. And a little fact check for Lion King lovers. No apes. There are no apes in The Lion King. The backlash to Trump's post was swift and oddly, rarely bipartisan. The list of Republicans rebuking Donald Trump's racist post grew by the hour today. Republican Senator Tim Scott, a staunch defender of Donald Trump, called the post, quote, "the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House," end quote. Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick writes this, quote, "racism and hatred have no place in our country ever. They divide our people and weaken the foundations of our democracy. History leaves no doubt when division is inflamed by those in positions of power, the consequences are real and lasting. Whether intentional or careless, this post is a grave failure of judgment and is absolutely unacceptable from anyone, most especially the President of the United States. A clear and unequivocal apology is owed. After leaving the post up for 12 hours, Donald Trump then deleted it. And desperate to shift the blame somewhere, anywhere, a White House official says a White House staffer.
Wow. Left the post up for 12 hours, a half of a day. That post was up depicting the former president and his wife as apes. 10 million people follow this man in an account that he posted this. It's been posted and reposted and all of that by those racist people. This is the sitting president of the United States of America, expecting the entire world to respect this country and respect us when he doesn't even respect the citizens of the country. That's why America is a joke abroad. This is unbelievable. Anyone who supports this man is shameful. Seriously.
Quote, erroneously posted the racist content. That's the case. It is inexplicable then that there's still been zero apology issued to the Obamas. A blatantly racist post amplified by Donald Trump during the first week of Black History Month is where we start today. Senior White House reporter Ron Hilliard is here. He has chronicled an unbelievably shameful list of all the examples of Donald Trump's racist conduct. It took my breath away to see it the way you compiled it, Vaughn. Also joining us, Princeton University professor and political analyst Eddie Glott is here. Puck News senior political columnist and national affairs analyst John Heilman is here. With me at the table, host of Politics Nation, president of the National Action Network, the Reverend Al Sharpton's here. What are your thoughts on this?
I think that you raised in your buildup something that's very important. People need to understand Donald Trump began his political career with racism. I mean, we fought with him in New York for many years, marched on him when he called for the execution of 5 young men who were falsely accused of raping a white woman, was found guilty of discrimination in housing. But when he decided he wanted to be Democrat sometime, would go to social events with all of us, he decided to enter politics by saying Barack Obama is not one of us. The racial overtones, undertones, whatever way you want to call it, is how he entered the political arena. So we're only seeing the manifestation of what he said it was all along. He won the White House with us against them. He ran an administration. Don't forget, in his first term is when we went through George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, all of that. He was president and did nothing about it other than to go in front of a church across the street from the White House and said, when the shooting starts, the looting starts, the shooting starts, and threaten the protesters. So it's like full circle. Now we see, in the beginning of Black History Month, 2026, the President of the United States puts out a depiction of the former president and first lady who raised the hopes of many in this nation that we had crossed some line and made some advancement as a society. And he comes with something that only the Confederate President Jefferson Davis would have done if there was Twitter then. And there's no way around this. When Tim Scott would even denounce him, and you can't get a public apology, and somebody, if you claim somebody in the White House did it, how does someone have access to what the president can put out? And why aren't they fired? Why aren't they being walked out like you walked out Omarosa in your first term? You walked her out. Well, walk somebody out of the White House if that somebody exists. The reason I don't think you can walk them out is you'd have to open up the Oval Office and walk him out.
I think that's exactly right. I think it also isn't a mask off moment.
Yeah, because they tried to put it on someone else, Trump. He doubled down. He put it on someone else that one of his staffers had released the post erroneously or what have you. But it comes from his account. He released the post, of course, and blamed it on some staffer, tried to scapegoat some individual. Where's this staffer? hasn't pointed him out, hasn't released this individual's name or anything because he doesn't exist. Donald J. Trump put out the post illustrating to the entire world how he feels about some of his constituents, about an entire race of people, about American citizens, and about the American people. And he did this in America's name. So anyone who doesn't agree with this should be outraged, or you're complicit. You're the culprit. You feel just the same way as he does, but it's just going to be a temporary outrage, a temporary pushback, and then it'll just be business as usual. It's just the ways of this country. Yeah, everyone had hopes and dreams with Martin Luther King, and when Obama became president, that the country had turned the corner. I never bought into it. I never believed it. It's steeped into the fabric of this country, and the way that these individuals believe. It's just ingrained and embedded in them. Can't tell me anything different. You can continue to believe different if you want to, at your own detriment.
It is sort of the substance of the administration is state-sanctioned racial profiling, asking people for their papers. I mean, that's what's happening in America, in Minneapolis, but all over the country.
You have state-sponsored racial profiling. Minneapolis, if you're a certain color or speak a certain language, you're an automatic suspect, even if you're 2 years old. And you also see where they're now saying, oh, let's nationalize elections. We're going to take all of your rights away. All of this inside of 1 year and a few days of being in office. Clearly, the first thing he did when he got in office this time, declare war on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. That became the top of his agenda. So this is not out of context. This is not a one-off. He came in saying this, and he came in trying to, in many ways, execute this as president of the United States. And he was able to get up a lot of that, of his following, to go along with that, until they themselves start seeing that he was picking their pockets while he was talking about blacks. And I'm not saying that everyone, I say it often, and it's been said before, I'm not saying everyone that voted for Donald Trump's a racist, but every racist voted for Donald Trump because they felt comfortable there.
Let me ask you this question, because I feel like we could talk for 2 hours about Donald Trump. But what about all the people funding Donald Trump's excesses? You've got companies, including Comcast, paid for the destruction of the East Wing. You've got tech executives standing shoulder to shoulder. Tim Cook was in a tux the day after one of the deadly ICE shootings in Minnesota. I mean, what do you think it says about the titans of industry that they're standing shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump?
It says that they have a tolerance.
It says that they are of American blood, that they follow the doctrine of American history. Most of these institutions were built on slave labor, and many built by slaves, so-called slaves. Harvard, the White House itself was built by so-called slaves, the White House. Indeed. A lot of these educational institutions, these banks, were funded by slave labor. So the fact that they support someone who thinks like Trump is the American way. Just the sooner that you realize that, the better off you will be.
Or an engagement themselves, one or the other. At best, they tolerate it.
They either like this.
Yes. At best, they tolerate it. At worst, they engage it and entertain it. And they ought not be allowed to have government contracts, government dealings, city, state, or federal, or our consumer dollars. That's why some of us have engaged in trying to resurrect the boycott type of infrastructure, picking off some of these companies. You want to finance this, you shouldn't finance it at our dollars. I don't care if you don't love me, but you're not going to use my money to institute and implement hate. You don't ever have to love me, but I'm not going to finance you having this kind of discriminatory atmosphere or fund somebody that is blatantly and openly saying that. And one thing we've not seen is one statement, one tweet from one of the corporate giants that deal with government. We've even seen Tim Scott, I'll repeat. Where are the ones that are making all of this money off of this administration that sit around the table with him and cut deals? Where is one CEO standing up saying this is unacceptable and we can no longer participate financially with you if this is your behavior? Where is that? Oh, I'm sorry, they're probably going to see his movie out about Milano.
Exactly. They're not going to say anything about that. That's the bottom line. You know, they're not going to call it out. Now let it, average Joe, average celebrity, or what have you, put out anything racist, any sort of, they're going to cancel them. There's going to be an outrage. He's going to be boycotted. Going to lose all his sponsorships. The whole nine. Career over with. Anything even remotely like this, career is done. But the president of the United States, he can commit 34 felonies and put out a post like this, and everyone just turns their head and turns their back. It's distasteful, it's disrespectful, it's racist, it's shameful, it's diabolical and covetous, and he should be impeached. He should be walked out of the office. He should not be able to represent the American people, putting out posts like this about American citizens, not to mention the former president of the United States has no respect for the former president, but we already know he has no respect for him. He questioned his birthright. But how disrespectful of anyone to do something like this to a former president. This shows you they didn't care about Obama being a president. They put him in power to do what they wanted him to do. They didn't care anything about him. They don't respect him to this day. Look at that. Unbelievable. As I said, I'm exercising self-control here. Unbelievable. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.